Everybody, Legend for Life here, bringing you guys a brand new video this time around. It is the Megaliths, the new archetype coming out of Ignition Assault. You know, it's kind of funny. Somebody joked that there should be a somebody in the Reddit, in like Yu-Gi-Oh Reddit, joked that there should be a ritual theme archetype in Ignition Assault, and sure enough, there is, which is pretty cool. This also is a very unique. Very unique ritual archetype in the fact that it has no ritual spells. This deck is definitely going to be interesting. I don't think it's anything meta relevant, but it's definitely going to be an interesting archetype. Speaking of archetypes in general, we're going to have tons of videos over at least one video over the next like 3 or so days, because there's a whole bunch of stuff that was revealed and I got to play catch up. So let's get on with the Megaliths. This is Megalith Ophiel. Absolutely beautiful card art. I love all these card arts. They're really cool looking cards. They're like living statues and stuff. Kind of reminds me of those creepy angel things from Doctor Who. I don't even watch Doctor Who, but I know about those things. So we got Megalith Ophiel. Level 4 Earth Rock Ritual Effect Monster, 1600 attack, 2500 defense. This deck has, with the exception of a few monsters, every monster has more defense than attack. It's pretty close to like 1,000 defense for each one, which is a bit annoying because you do need to go on the aggressive at some point. But however, 2,500 defense is nothing to kind of laugh at. So you can ritual summon this card using any Megalith card. And its second effect you can only use once per turn. If this card is ritual summoned, you can add one Megalith monster from your deck to your hand, except a copy of itself. So the second effect is a hard once per turn. The first effect is not. So if you ritual summon multiples of these guys, or I think, yeah, it's a check. If you ritual summon multiple of this, you get basically just to get some more searches, which is great. You can always search out the monsters though, which isn't too great, though. Granted, we only have one spell and like 2 or 3 traps that haven't revealed, so mostly going to be a monster-oriented archetype for the looks of it. And then here comes the interesting aspect. During your main phase, you can ritual summon one ritual monster from your hand using from your hand. You must also tribute monsters from your hand and or field, including this card on the field, whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the monster you summon. So, as I mentioned, this deck has no ritual spells. And basically, the little guys, the level 4s, have the effect on field where you can ritual summon using themselves and other monsters, while the big ones, your boss monsters, have it to where you can discard them to ritual summon using them in your hand. This is an interesting play style, and also kind of basically also kind of hinders the deck. I'm not gonna lie. As cool as it is, monster effects are far easier to negate than spells and traps. On top of that, not having spells in the archetype severely limits how much the ritual support that you can really make full use of. Like, one of the best things about Preparation of Rites is that it's a +1, because you activate it, you get your ritual monster from your deck, and then you add the ritual spell from your grave to your hand. But, however, if you aren't doing a ritual spell in the archetype, you don't really get that. It's just it's a +0. You're just getting a new card for using a card. Now, granted, do I think Preparation of Rites will still get played in this deck? Probably. But, however, it's still something interesting to be to just kind of note. It also means pre-prep cannot be played in this deck whatsoever. Well. Then we got Megalith Hagif. There's another interesting part of this archetype that I'll show you here in a second. So Hagif, his unique effect is that you can add one Megalith ritual spell from your deck to your hand, and of course he has a ritual summoning effect. So whenever he's summoned, he searches the ritual spell, the spells, just like how, spells and traps, just like how Ophiel searches out the monsters. Likewise, he's also got 1,300 attack and 2,600 defense. So, yeah, a little bit weaker, but however also a little bit stronger in the defense. Hagif is going to be key as well for the deck to search out your spells and traps. And then this is where things get shaken up a little bit. So, this is Megalith it's O-C-H. I'm not really sure how to pronounce that. I'm going to go with that. Anyway, so it has 1,000 attack, 2,700 defense, so the lowest attack but the highest defense. If it's ritual summoned, you can draw one card and discard one card. And then during the main phase, as a quick effect, you can ritual summon using this card and blah blah blah. So this one has a quick effect, whereas the other two don't. That is probably the more interesting aspect of this deck as well, in that two of the monsters, one of the boss monsters and one of the little ones, has the ritual summon effect as a quick effect, which means you can ritual summon during your opponent's turn. And considering the effect of one of the boss monsters, this is going to be integral to the archetype to really being able to disrupt and mess with your opponent. Moving on, we got one of the first boss monsters, Megalith Archetype. I won't lie, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on here, but it looks like it's a phalanx, which is probably where the name comes from. So yeah, pretty cool. Level 8 Earth Rock Ritual Effect Monster, 2500 attack, 1200 defense. This is going to be like really your main beater of the archetype. He also is what makes your other dudes a bit stronger. So he has two effects. You can discard Ritual Summon a Megalith Ritual Monster from your hand. You must also tribute monsters from your hand and or field whose original levels equal or exceed the level of the monster you summon. So they are effectively acting as the ritual spell. You just discard it, then use other monsters to tribute, and then summon out the new monster. And then his unique effect is that monsters you control gain 300 attack and defense for each ritual monster in your graveyard. Due to how much you'll be building up your rituals in your graveyard, this is going to stack up real fast, especially if you get multiples of them out. So this is going to be your main way of going on the offensive. Which it kind of sucks because that's his only effect other than the ritual summon aspect. And right now this deck has no way of ritual summoning from the graveyard, but does have other ways to get your stuff out back from your graveyard. So it'll be interesting to see what Konami does to allow this deck to go a bit more on the offensive. Obviously, without going into outside support, I think, yeah, all the big guys are level 8, so you can also, of course, just, you know, make some rank 8s and stuff. Then we got Megalith Bethor, which, to me, it kind of looks like these guys are upgraded versions of these guys over here. Like, I know we got Ophio, it's an angel, all pretty and stuff, and then we get this, and then we go from this freaking Shantak-looking thing. No, Night Gaunt, that's what they're called. I'm thinking, if you get the reference here, you get a cookie. So you get this guy go from this to this. That's just at least what it looks like to me. It's kind of an interesting thing, and considering some of the other card arts, that's probably how it is. But I digress. So moving on, Megalith Bethor, level 8 rock ritual effect monster. He's an Earth. 1500 attack, 2600 defense. As a ritual summoning clause, if this card is ritual summoning, you can target cards your opponent controls up to the number of ritual monsters with different names in your graveyard, destroy them. As I was saying, this there is a monster that you'll be wanting to ritual summon during your opponent's turn, and I think this guy is also one that you can do as well. But however, this is really good. Okay, so imagine you get at this little guy. Okay, you ritual summon, you get to draw one, discard one. It goes into your opponent's turn. Okay, they start popping off, going on their boards. Quick effect of Oct. Tribute itself, tribute another monster. Summon Bethor from your hand. You have at least 2 monsters in your graveyard. Pop 2 monsters. Your opponent kind of gets screwed over, and they can't pop off as much as they wanted to. You might not be able to completely disrupt their plays, but however, you can definitely slow them down, which is pretty good. And then, if you happen to have the next guy, which, by the way, this is my favorite artwork, Megalith Haratron, you can, of course, quick ritual summon from your hand using this thing. So this is Megalith Haratron. He's like this 3-headed dragon Ouroboros looking dude. Actually, I think he's got 4 heads. Wow. I love this artwork. No, in all honesty, it's so cool looking. Level 8 Earth Rock Ritual Effect Monster, 2k attack, 3k defense. During the main phase, as a quick effect, you can discard him, a ritual summon a Megalith Ritual Monster from your hand. You must also tribute monsters from your hand and or field whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the monster you summon. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a card you control, as a quick effect, you can place 1 ritual monster from your graveyard on the bottom of your deck, and if you do, negate that activation, and if you do that, destroy it. So, ideally, you want to get Haratron out, and well, in order to protect your monsters, kind of just troll your opponent using Bethor to destroy them, and then going for a game of Mega with Phaleg, powering up him, as well as also your other monsters. right now, that's not a crazy good win condition, I feel. This deck is really lacking in that oomph, if that makes sense. It's really lacking in that special something that makes every really good archetype really good. Now, granted, this is only the first wave of support. Hopefully we do get more. And, of course, I still got to talk about Dispel and Traps. But, however, even with everything taken into consideration, I feel like this deck is just kind of lacking in that powerhouse regard that, like, it needs to be able to really just go for game and such. Moving on to the spell, we got the field spell Megalith Portal. You know, not really too... It's not much to talk about with the artwork. Anyways, you can only use the second effect with discard's name once per turn. The first effect, the first time each ritual summon monster would be destroyed by battle each turn, it is not, which is pretty good. Adds an extra layer of protection on your monsters. Not a crazy amount considering how high their defense is, but hey, if you try going for game and you fail, you can still protect your monsters from getting killed in battle considering how crap their attack is. Second effect, if a Megalith monster is special summoned, you can target one ritual monster in graveyard, add that monster to your hand. So obviously, ideally, you'll want to activate this, ritual summon, grab, like, let's say, you discard Haratron during your opponent's turn, you ritual summon Bethor, oh hey, a monster just got summoned, effective portal, add back Haratron from graveyard, or one of the monsters that you tributed to, well, summon Bethor. This is really, really good and can help keep up your advantage because considering, well, you're going to be burning through it so fast. It's a really nice card and is definitely going to be really necessary in the archetype. Then we got Megalith Promotion. This is an interesting card. I don't feel like it does enough. So, continuous trap card. You can only use its one effect once per turn. It's a hard once per turn. You can target one level 4 or lower monster you control. Its level becomes double its original level until the end of the turn. So you basically turn one of your level 4s into a level 8, or one of the level 8s into a 16, which I don't even think... It doesn't say max of 12, so you could technically go to a 16. This card I'm a bit iffy on. It's nice that you can make it so that you only have to use your level 4s as the entire tribute, which is really nice, I gotta say, because especially since this deck looks like it's going to hemorrhage resources. The issue is well, that's all it does. It doesn't do anything else. It doesn't say, oh, if this card's destroyed, pop a card or draw a card or anything. It doesn't have any other benefit to playing it, and I don't see people playing it that much. I'm going to test it out, obviously, for my own purposes, because it is theoretically a pretty nice card to the archetype, because every good ritual archetype should have a monster that counts as full tribute. Like, just full stop, okay? And Megalith Promotion, theoretically, can make it to where any of your monsters count as full tribute. The issue is that that's all it does as a trap card. If this also had some other effect, I'd be more down for it. Even if it was just some nonchalant, like, oh, your monsters gain 100 attack for every monster in the graveyard. Something like that even would have been nice to have as just like a tack on. But no, this is all it does. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Then we got Megalith Immersion. This is an interesting one. Really cool looking artwork. I guess it's supposed to show that, like, oh, these monsters connect at the bottom. I'm not sure exactly what the purpose of that is, but I guess maybe just ritual summoning? I don't know. Anyways, also apparently this thing has 4 heads. I was right. Cool. Haratron does have 4 heads. Okay, so continuous trap as well. You can only use its one effect once per turn. It's a hard once per turn. You can target one Megalith monster in graveyard, spell summon it in defense position, but place it on the bottom of the deck when it leaves the field. Again, this is another really good way of just keeping up your resources. This deck does hemorrhage its resources so easily due to the fact that you got to discard the ritual summon. And of course the level 4s use themselves, so they kind of mitigate the amount that you hemorrhage, but it's not that great. That being said, Immersion here is really, really good for what the deck needs, because oh, you just ritual summon using your level 4 on the field, okay, bring it back and then use it again for another ritual summon. Pretty nice. You know, I think out of the 2 traps, it's definitely the one that's going to be more often played. I mean, heck, who doesn't like just a once per turn free monster reborn? Yeah, sure, your monsters get shuffled back to the deck whenever, placed on the bottom of your deck whenever it's used for, well, whenever it leaves the field. But, however, that's still a pretty good effect, you know. And of course there's ways to search out your monsters back, so it's not like the worst thing in the world. And of course if you bring back a level 8 and then like see summon a rank 8, that'll prevent your monster from going to the bottom of the deck in general. Pretty good card overall. So overall with Megaliths, this is definitely one of the archetypes that I'm most looking forward to in Ignition Assault. Them and really basically what are they called? Adagnisters. The deck is very interesting and I can't wait to try it out. I really like rituals, so that's going to be just kind of fun to use around with. But again, as I said, I feel like this deck is lacking something. This feels very small. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, unless I miscounted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so there should still be one more card. Typically, when in a first wave, there's 10 cards, so there should be one more card. Hopefully, it's something that kind of helps tie everything together, whether that be a spell or something. This deck is still pretty interesting. What do you guys think of Megaliths? I'm pretty excited for it. It looks like a fun little archetype. I don't think it's going to be anything meta, at least not yet, unless it gets some bonkers support later on. But yeah, it'll be interesting to mess around with, and it definitely opens up more avenues and shows that Konami hasn't completely forgotten about tinkering around with past summoning mechanics. So guys, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. Rate, comment, and subscribe, and see y'all later. Peace out.